Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Ben Thompson with the Treble Health Podcast. Today, I am with Jennifer and Chad Griffiths. Hello to both of you. They are professional YouTubers and someone who I was connected with because our team at Treble Health was looking for individuals who have a YouTube community about healthy aging. So the conditions we work with are hearing loss, tinnitus. We care about healthy aging. We care about keeping a healthy brain. And because of that, I want to introduce both of you to our YouTube community. Can you all please tell the story first of how you started this YouTube channel? What are the values of your YouTube channel? And then after that, we'll get into the very interesting part of this conversation of how we met, which is Chad, how after years of having hearing loss and trying different hearing aids, we were able to connect for hearing aid fitting and programming over telehealth. So please both introduce yourself and welcome to our community here.
Oh, thank you.
Well, I'll introduce myself. I'm Chad Griffiths. I'm about my low 60s, 62, 64 age range. And I'll let Jennifer introduce us as far as our YouTube channel goes.
Well, we got into it because our children are YouTubers and we would have guest appearances on their channels. And I just was kind of viewed as the motherly grandmother figure. We've got 21 grandchildren. And so when people would start asking us questions and they just kind of, I don't know, it just kind of evolved from there that we started our own channel. And we just talk about family and travel and aging and retirement.
Cooking and cleaning,
all that good stuff. That
I've watched a few videos. There's been a few videos where, Chad, you mentioned some of your history with your hearing health and hearing loss and trying hearing aids. Of course, that's where we got connected. That's where we felt, wow, there could be something special here to inspire, educate, and for you personally to try hearing aids via telehealth. Tell us a bit of a backstory of over the years, what have you noticed with your hearing? And then the different process that you went to eventually try hearing aids for the first time.
Okay. Yeah. I've worked in manufacturing a lot in my life. And so it became quite apparent here several years ago during my conversations. I would have to start conversations over, what did you say? I'm sorry. I was told several times, many times that, you have to listen to the TV that loud. And so it didn't take long, and it was pretty obvious that my hearing was starting to go. And I've had hearing tests in the past with companies that I've worked with, and they never really said whether it was getting worse or it was fine, that you just go in as part of checking a box off and getting your hearing test. But I went in here a little over a year ago and got my hearing check, and I was told that I had some significant loss in some of the different ranges of hearing. And I've had a little bit of tinnitus or tendinitis. The term tendinitis is what I'm familiar with, where I have this ringing in my ear, and I normally hear it, and it bothers me typically when I'm tired at the end of the day or when I've been around a lot of other loud things. And it's not really bad, but that was one of the things I wanted to address was, number one, is there a fix for it? Is there something that I can do, through hearing aids to make it less obvious and less bothersome?
Yeah. And we're going to talk about the next stages, you trying hearing aids from an in-person clinic and then eventually trying the hearing aids with us. And we had a lot of fun going back and forth online about that. Jennifer, what has your experience been over the years being married to Chad, who has noticed some difficulty with hearing over time? What has been your perception, your perspective?
Well, when I realize he's not just ignoring me, it really is real. He can't hear what I'm saying. And when we're watching TV, it's annoying because I'm quite sensitive to noise. And so the TV was always much louder than I would have liked. But I would like to say that it isn't just manufacturing. I think it's partly genes, because our daughter is in her 30s and she has hearing loss too and needs to get that taken care of.
Yeah. And both my mom and father, my mom and dad both had hearing aids as well.
And I couldn't believe when we started talking about this on our channel, how many people are much younger than us that are
Struggling.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you for sharing that. And we do know there's different causes of hearing loss. Sometimes it's the natural aging process. Other times it's genetic, family history, and finally loud noise exposure. Those make up the three main causes of hearing loss. Chad, you originally tried hearing aids locally and you've been using them on and off. Tell us about that experience over the past year or so.
Yeah, I went again, had my hearing tested and was fitted for some nice hearing aids. I had the injected molding done in my ear, so I had custom fit ear fittings. And when I first got them, obviously everything's going to be a little bit louder. And so wear them and your brain will get used to them. And they had the volume turned down. And it was really, really, everything was magnified. And that's one of the things that was a little frustrating, is that I want to be able to hear the conversations. I want to be a part of those conversations. I want to be able to hear people, but it really didn't help because the air conditioning, people walking by, the clinking of paper, and just everything else was magnified. And so I could hear better, but I could hear everything better. And so it was kind of a wash. It really didn't help in that sense. I continued to wear them for several months just to, try and I was, we made some adjustments, and it helped a little bit. And I had continued to try and make little custom adjustments, but it just became more bothersome than they helped. And so I found that I quit wearing them. And once you stop wearing them, it's just as easy not to put them back in. I can hear things fairly well. I have to be reminded sometimes I get talking a little bit louder than I have to. The TV volume started going back up. And so I was really glad to, make contact with you and to, start the whole process over. And, again, the process has been very convenient and very easy doing it over Zoom and teleconsult.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, telehealth. So just to be really transparent to any viewer, anyone who's watching, is that our company, Treble Health, was looking for people or families on YouTube who are positive, who have a good community and are educational related to health conditions. So we reached out and we had a discussion, and then you had shared that, yeah, I might be interested in doing some form of a brand deal, making a sponsored video on your channel because you yourself have the very conditions that we work in as audiologists. So from there, we said, yeah, well, let's send you some of our best hearing aids and let's do the telehealth hearing aid fitting and use your recent hearing test that you previously had and see if we can get the hearing aids we work with Treble Health, see if we can get those working better than your in-person clinic hearing aids, and overall give you an experience that you can educate your audience on what happened. So what was that experience from the beginning of having the initial consultation and then having the devices arrive to your house and then having them adjusted?
It's been really nice to be able to make appointments and to meet with you on the computer in the comfort of our own home, especially with the tail end of COVID and not having to worry about that kind of stuff. So it's been really convenient to have the hearing aids, pre-programmed and pretty much turnkey out of the box to be able to put them in and go with them. And then being able to meet with you and your team on downloading the app, setting it up, and connecting through the Bluetooth functionality of the hearing aids.
And just today, at the time of making this video, we had a follow-up session where you had shared, okay, it's been a week or so of wearing these. I've determined that the volume that I want to listen to is 3 steps louder than where they were set. So our side of things, we're able to make an adjustment by an audiologist, send them through your app, and waiting just a minute or two, press a button, and then the settings have changed. So very revolutionary technology, and you're sitting on the other side of it today after experiencing it. Any other feedback or just overall experiences of how that's been?
I think the neatest thing is that we've been able to do that. We were supposed to meet yesterday, but there was a conflict. And so it was very easy to switch the appointment to the next day instead of a month from now. I had an appointment with my other hearing aid provider. I've had 2 appointments. They canceled one of them due to whatever reason they didn't give. And on my last appointment, there was a car accident on the freeway. And so I was about 10, 15 minutes late to my appointment. Not a big problem because the doctor was also caught up in the traffic. And so that appointment was canceled. And I still haven't heard back from the clinic as to when they want to reschedule. And so we've been able to make much more progress doing it this way instead of going into the clinic, into the hospital. So it's much more convenient, I think, for both the doctor and the patient, I think.
It's definitely in terms of the vision of what a telehealth model can bring. You're certainly experiencing the benefits from what you shared. And how about around the house, having communication with each other? Jennifer, are you noticing with hearing aids that Chad is more alert, or are things the same as before? What are you noticing?
Well, it's kind of the same. He ignores me. So it's not perfect.
Yeah. Hearing aids will not fix selective hearing.
But yes, in regards to can he hear me and he doesn't ask me to repeat myself, no, that's improved. Television watching has improved. But as far as
well, and I've also noticed that when we're having conversations with multiple couples, it's much easier to hear and be a part of those conversations. So. With my other hearing aids, there's different settings that, you can switch from group conversations to individual conversations. And, this here just seems to be, programmed so generically that they work fine in both scenarios.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I wasn't trying to throw him under the bus. Yeah.
He's a good man. He's a good man. Anyone who watches your YouTube channel will know that. And for those who are not already, check them out. Grandma and Grandpa Griffiths on YouTube. You can subscribe and join the hundreds of thousands of others who already have. That is the one thing about modern hearing aid technology is you put them in, they're programmed to your hearing test, and then they do all the work for you. You go into a loud place, they make some adjustments so it's not too loud. You go into a quiet place and Jennifer is speaking quietly on your right side. They try to bring her voice up so that you can hear her. So they're doing all of these automatic things, and that eventually leads to better hearing and more comfortable experience.
I have a question for you. You have a minute. I do.
Please go ahead.
But I do have a question.
Please go ahead.
Chad has been fortunate enough to work with you. Now, do you have other members, other staff that are just as qualified?
More qualified, in fact. I'm the youngest audiologist on our team, so that is something I'm very proud of. In fact, that the audiologists we have in-house at the time making this video, 8 audiologists who live all over the country, nationwide, from New York, New Jersey, Florida, Minnesota, in the West, in California. And I can say with certainty that all of our audiologists in-house have a lot of experience with tinnitus, with the ringing in the ears, as well as with hearing loss. And I wanted to ask you, Chad, did you notice a change in your tinnitus if you had a stressful day and you're in a quiet place with the hearing aids? Do they help with the tinnitus perception, or not sure, too early to tell yet?
It's probably too early to tell, but typically I notice it when people bring it to my attention. If we start talking about, okay, so I can hear the ringing in my ears right now, but just primarily because we're talking about it. And I think 20 minutes from now, it's still there, but it'll fade back into the background, and where, my attention will be on other things. But it's usually, I will notice it typically in the evening at the end of the day when I'm really tired. When I'm ready to go to bed, you'll start hearing that ringing. But this is, I think, because you're hearing things a lot clearer, I'm hearing more things. It's not overwhelming, but I think when everything's really, really quiet, that's when I think it's very apparent, and you have that constant ringing in my ear. And I think that's probably why I notice it at nights, because, going to bed, everything's quiet and we're turning in for the evening. And that's when I start noticing it.
Understood. Absolutely. So y'all are both very active. You have 20 something grandchildren, was it?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, 21.
21.
And I'm sure you have a lot of friends and are engaged in your community, or you have this online audience. You're very active. So what we know with hearing and communication is that for those who are active and there's a lot of things to do, there's a lot of hearing that's important. There's a lot of conversations. There's a lot of group environments. What you said earlier, Chad, is so common that it's hardest to hear when there's multiple couples or multiple people talking at the same time and there's background noise, background sound. Modern hearing aids are doing better and better at processing that sound to make it clear. But still, we must remind ourselves that there is no cure for hearing loss, that it is a condition that we manage. So we manage it through the best technology possible, by the best doctors possible, but it's not something that is going to ever sound like it did 30 years ago. So it's another important piece to realize here that, okay, this is better than what it was. It's not perfect, but it's good enough and it's as best that technology allows. So I want to pass it to you all. Do you have any insider knowledge or insider tips about what's happening on your YouTube channel that some of our viewers may be interested in, keeping in mind that a lot of our viewers are 40 plus, 50 plus, and certainly caring about their health and their wellness as they age?
Well, I know that there are a lot my daughter's age that are 30, in their 30s, that are having that hearing loss, and they have a stigma against having a hearing aid. And I try to tell them it's no different than if you were wearing a pair of glasses. You shouldn't feel bad about having a hearing aid on any more than you do having a pair of glasses.
Yeah, it's, you want to live a quality life. And we've been, I think, very fortunate in our lives where we've had pretty good health. I think between cavities and my hearing loss is probably my biggest trial. And so I've really enjoyed being able to, have a comfortable set of hearing aids where I can hear but not be overwhelmed with everything, every noise. And it's amazing how much noise is out there in a home, the humming of the refrigerator, the running of water, the clock, when you walk across the rug or your carpet, how much noise that creates.
Well, I noticed his parents had hearing loss and they did not get the right help. And his dad eventually just didn't have anything to do with anybody because he couldn't hear.
Well,
I think he went downhill because of it.
Well, and part of that, I think, was that they had battery operated hearing aids, and they were changing batteries every other day. And when you're old and you're not as agile as he spent more time looking for these little teeny tiny batteries in the carpet than on the floor. And I think he finally just gave up doing that. And where these are rechargeable, and it's getting to be more and more common where you have rechargeable hearing aids. It just makes, I think, a big difference for me.
Yeah. Well, that is a common story, unfortunately, that not all hearing loss treatment experiences are created equal, and not all hearing aids are created equal. So when someone has a bad experience or a mediocre experience, like maybe you did a year and a half ago, a year ago, Chad, it may just turn you off from the experience of saying, of creating a broad stroke of saying, oh, hearing aids don't work. Well, those hearing aids didn't work for you that one time. So let this video, if anything, be an example of showcasing that, hey, if it didn't work for someone the first time, whether it be hearing loss, whether it be cardiovascular health, whether it be diabetes, whatever health condition, take another go at it and not give up too soon, because there are real gains that matter. Jennifer, to one of your points, you had just put this connection of how hearing loss seemed like it was connected to cognitive decline. And that is absolutely confirmed by the research that the scientists and researchers have looked at what are the preventable risk factors for cognitive decline, dementia, et cetera. One at the top of the list, things that you or I could prevent, could actively take an action or change a behavior that would impact my risk of dementia or your risk of dementia, is treating a hearing loss if you have it. And people go, really? I wouldn't have connected the two one to one. Well, the reason is that those who don't hear well who have hearing loss but don't treat it or get the right help and treatment, they are isolated. They're socially isolated from the group. They're not participating that much. They're not even trying or able to engage in group conversations. And because of that, they're just a little more reclusive, a little more isolated, more solitude. And that is what decays or negatively affects the brain more than anything. So social isolation has been shown to be linked with this cognitive health. So there's this one-to-one relationship. And because of that, audiologists like myself are, making it known, trying to educate without creating fear or anything like that, that treating hearing loss is a way to keep your brain healthy. And I think that resonated with what you shared with your family member there. Yeah. Well, thank you. I really appreciate you sharing your story and being here on the Treble Health podcast. For those who are listening, make sure to head over to Grandma and Grandpa Griffiths to check out Jennifer and Chad's own YouTube channel that has been going now for a handful of years and definitely smashing and doing really well. So follow them, follow their story. Jennifer and Chad, do you have any last words for our community here?
Get your hearing checked.
Yeah.
Just do it.
And just one more quick story. Jennifer's sister has just gotten some new hearing aids not that long ago. And visiting with her, I asked her because of my previous experience, and she says, "Oh, I just love my hearing aids. They're life-changing."
She had a great experience.
Yeah, and so back to your point is that if you've had a bad experience, if you're not real satisfied with them, keep looking. And I think these are not only wonderful hearing aids, but the consults are very convenient and very easy, and just thank you for reaching out.
Thank you.
We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you both. My pleasure, and great to have you. Hope to be connected with you as the years go on here. For those who are watching, on the next screen, we're going to show a link or a video that you can watch the video that Jennifer and Chad make of using the Treble Health hearing aid service. When that is published, we'll put it on this next screen. Until then, thank you and see you on the next episode. Bye-bye.
Okay.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching today's video with Treble Health. Check out our next video by clicking the button on this screen or another recommended video. And if you're not already, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks so much. See you on the next video.